The story of me, the learner, being in this transitory time with my dad. I've been questioning and making different meaning of my ancestral lines more and more, especially as I continue to teach and learn side by side. My dad is the oldest in my direct paternal line. Throughout the past 3 years, I've had the honor and pleasure to also at the same time guest lecture at the Institute of American Indian Arts, and one of the first things I noticed is how they do their introductions. Each individual links themselves to their ancestral homeland, their family, and their community spoken in their indigenous language. But I cannot do that. I am a descendant from stolen people who have lived and labored for free the majority of our years in the United States on stolen land. That's not an easy intro. I would do this introduction, though, because of my dad, the stubborn Leo. We kids grew up hearing 2 stories about Grandma Emma, the last slave in our family. There was always, of the 2 stories, this one about her hands, and I'm just going to go quickly. It's the one that, and here's why I'm going through it quickly, because I have listened to this story so many times over my lifetime, and it is a Debbie Downer story, for sure. And if you had the option of the 2, why you're leading with this, but we'll get to that. So Grandma Emma was a slave. She learned how to read and write at a very young age, maybe 4 years old, because she was clearly super bright. The slave master's wife needed a note carried to the next plantation. Grandma Emma offered to carry it over and read it. The slave master's wife, realizing that Grandma Emma could read and write, found a blunt object in the kitchen and tried to hammer off all of her fingers, permanently disfiguring her for the rest of her life. The moral of the story for me was that I was supposed to stay in school until I ran out of degree programs to complete. It's why we have so many generations of educators in my family. Ironically, it was not until I was in the last month of my doc degree, those last hard weeks of the defense and revisions when I was feeling my least, and I do mean least, tenacious self, that my dad told me the story about Grandma Emma's heart, not her hands. Grandma Emma got sold from the plantation in Alabama to one in Mississippi, but before that happened, Grandpa Bradford fell in love with her. Over however much time, I don't know the details, Grandpa Bradford managed, as a slave, mind you, to earn money, enough to buy his freedom, walk from Alabama to Mississippi, buy her freedom, and both of them walked back home to Alabama. I'd like to add, as a very important side note, knowing that love story would have drastically increased my odds in my love life much earlier in life. I might have told myself and believed vastly different stories about being a free, smart woman deserving of love and belonging if I knew that my DNA was made up of such tremendous love. It wasn't until last year, though, this is why I do these talks, because I get to make meaning of my life. When my feelings about these 2 different stories and how they shaped my life changed. I did that keynote at Carnegie Hall. I was super, super, super emotional. It was raw. I remember thinking, because I was looking out, because it wasn't all educators and performing artists and teaching artists like it is here, I remember thinking, I am completely bombing right now. This sucks. Because people looked stunned by the time I got off the stage. It couldn't have been further from the truth. One courageous young Black man turned to me and said, all of the time in school and life, now I know why I am angry. I turned that thought around for a long time last year.